Most people don't realize this, but your brain has been lying to you about your childhood. If you grew up in the 1970s, you probably joke about riding in the back of pickup trucks, drinking from the garden hose, and surviving without helmets or seatbelts. You look back and call it the good old days of freedom, but wonder about this for a second. If it was just pure, healthy freedom, why do you feel a knot of anxiety in your stomach today every time someone genuinely tries to take care of you? Why does the idea of relying on someone else feel like a life or death risk? Psychologists call this counterdependency. And once you understand it, you'll see why you act the way you do. Your relationships and your quiet judgment of younger generations, all of it is influenced by this one psychological pattern. You were raised in an era that forced you to be a miniature adult, and your nervous system has never forgotten how to survive on its own. Let's talk about the 1970s. It wasn't just disco and bell-bottoms. It was a decade of massive societal whiplash. Divorce laws changed, inflation skyrocketed, and adults were distracted trying to navigate a world that was suddenly turning upside down. As a kid, you weren't the center of the universe. You were a bystander. You left the house at 8 a.m. and were told to come back when the streetlights came on. It felt like an adventure, but emotionally, it was an era of benign neglect. You fell off your bike, you scraped your knee, and you learned not to cry too loudly because the adults were busy. You patched yourself up. You became your own caretaker. Most people stop here. They say that made me tough. It built character. And that's the biggest mistake. Psychology says that the toughness you pride yourself on is often just emotional suppression disguised as strength. Your brain chooses the comfort of isolation over the growth of vulnerability every single time unless you force it to change. You survived the 70s by minimizing your own needs. If you were sad or scared, you didn't ask for a therapist. You went to your room and listened to records. You learned that asking for help was a burden to the adults around you. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. This happens because your developing brain mapped the concept of safety directly to self-reliance. When we look at psychological attachment models, your mind thinks that letting someone help you means giving up control. Your brain does this to protect you from being let down, just like you were subtly let down by the distracted adult world of your childhood. You look at younger generations talking about their boundaries and feelings, and you roll your eyes. You think they are just soft, but the reality is, you aren't just frustrated by their fragility. Subconsciously, you're grieving the fact that you were never allowed to be soft. You were never allowed to just be a kid who needed a hug instead of a walk it off. If that hit you, good. It means you needed it. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. Being totally self-reliant isn't a superpower. It is an incredibly lonely way to live the second half of your life. If you want to break this cycle, start with expanding your receptive capacity. Here's the mental trick that actually works. The 24-hour acceptance rule. For the next 24 hours, when someone offers you help, whether it's carrying a heavy box or just listening to you, you're not allowed to say, "I've got it," or "No thanks." You must say thank you and let them do it. Force your brain to realize that receiving care does not erase your resilience. If this video helped you understand the invisible weight of your childhood, please subscribe to the channel and share this with someone else who survived the 70s. We explore the deep psychology behind why we are the way we are. You were a great kid. You were resourceful. You were brave. And you survived a wild era. But the streetlights are on, and you're safe now. You don't have to do it all by yourself anymore.